Hello dear Hearts of Iron 4 players, I'm Atelas, welcome back to my channel. This is my first Hearts of Iron 4 video, however I'm creating content about other strategy games, including the Paradox games such as Crusader Kings 3. As you probably already know, Paradox released a new DLC called Arms Against Tyranny, and I have found enough time to experience Denmark thoroughly. In my playthrough, I realized that there are many interesting formable nations, introduced to both Denmark and other Scandinavian countries. Although every Nordic country gets a formable nation, the highest variability of them belongs to Denmark. Denmark is able to form every nation that can be achieved by other Scandinavians, plus a completely new dominion over the Baltic Sea. Let us start with the first and easiest to form, the Kalmar Union. The union can be formed by controlling Norwegian, Swedish and Danish states completely. If the player was able to control all the states, the name of the country turns into Scandinavia and gains cores on every state in Sweden, Denmark and Norway. The Kalmar Union was in fact a totally historical monarchy that ruled most of the Scandinavia between 14th and 16th centuries. The union was declared thanks to the immense efforts of Queen Margaret I of Denmark in 1397. At that time, Swedish and Norwegian thrones were joined, and they were ruled by King Haakon IV. Margaret was a Danish princess at that moment and married with King Haakon. They had a son named Olaf, and he became the legitimate heir to the thrones of Denmark, Sweden and Norway. Soon after Olaf inherited all the thrones around Scandinavia, he died unexpectedly at the age of 16. Because he died without an heir, the regency of the thrones transferred to Queen Margaret herself. The male line of the previous house was diminished with the death of Olaf, and she had to adopt her great-nephew, Eric of Pomerania, as an heir to the throne of Scandinavia. In 1397, Eric was crowned as the King of Sweden, Norway and Denmark in the city of Kalmar. The Scandinavia was ruled by this personal union for 200 years, and the famous Stockholm bloodbath happened during this period. Following the Stockholm bloodbath, Swedish aristocrats united under the banner of Gustav Vasa and ended the union between these three countries. Thanks to Hearts of Iron 4, it is possible to restore the medieval union of Scandinavia now. It is a formable nation for both Denmark, Norway and Sweden. Before we continue with the next nation, could you please subscribe to my channel? The subscriptions are the main motivating phenomenon behind my videos, and you can find many interesting contents about strategy games in my channel. It would be great if you consider subscribing to support me and see better and more videos in the future. Let us continue with the second nation, Nordic Union. Nordic unity can be proclaimed if the player controls all Danish, Swedish, Norwegian and Finnish states. Every state lying under these countries become a core of the Nordic Union, and every Nordic country has a decision to proclaim it. The Nordic unity depicted in Hearts of Iron 4 is another historical figure. In fact, it is still continuing this day. During the World War II, every Nordic country except Sweden experienced occupation by either Soviet or Nazi forces. After the occupation, those countries pursued a cooperative bloc to ensure Scandinavian defense. Although it was not possible for them to form a complete alliance due to Finnish-Soviet Friendship Treaty, they were able to form an international parliament consisting of delegates from Nordic countries in 1952. Following the death of Joseph Stalin, Finland joined to the Council in 1955. Today, the Nordic Council is still present, and the main function of the Council is to provide suggestions to ensure Nordic defense and unity. In Hearts of Iron 4, the Nordic unity feels a little different than a consultative parliament. It is more of a united country under one banner. However, forming Nordic unity might be the best option to survive the harsh political instability ravaging Europe during the 21st century. Another really interesting decision of Denmark is Dominium Maris Baltici, meaning the Baltic Sea Dominion. The Baltic Sea was an important market feeding both the Central Europe and the Nordic countries. Therefore, the two major powers of Scandinavia, Sweden and Denmark, pursued a dominion over the Baltic Sea. During the 14th and 15th century, the major power over the Baltic Sea was Denmark and a Northern European Union called Hanseatic League. This power struggle over the Baltic countries led to the formation of previously mentioned Kalmar Union. With the fall of Kalmar Union, both Swedes and Danes tried to pursue the idea of Baltic dominion, and this led to a Swedish-Danish rivalry, which resulted in a victory of Sweden. Sweden was able to control an important portion of Baltic seaports and became a European great power during the 18th century. However, a complete control over the Baltic states was just a dream for Scandinavian major powers and never happened. Quite strangely, in Hearts of Iron 4, this decision is only available to Denmark, but not to Sweden, even though they both pursued the dream of Baltic dominion. To form the Baltic dominion, the player must control quite a large area, including all the states of Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Estonia, Livonia, and lastly Lithuania. Every mentioned state will be a core of Denmark, and the resulting country will be very powerful. However, the player must be ready for an attack coming from Soviet Bear as seen in my playthrough. The last, and I think the hardest to achieve, is the North Sea Empire. As Denmark or Norway, the player can decide to form North Sea Empire of the 11th century. Similar to Kalmar Union, North Sea Empire was a personal union of a monarch who united the thrones of Denmark, Norway and England. The empire was founded by Svein Forkbeard, who inherited Norway and Denmark, and with his great power, conquered England. After his death, his son Knut the Great eliminated his brothers and ruled the three kingdoms. It is thought that he was the most powerful ruler in Europe after the Holy Roman Emperor himself. In order to form North Sea Empire, the player should control all the Norwegian and English states, plus the mainland Danish states. Forming the country yields cores all over England and Norway, thus it is by far the most powerful formable nation that can be achieved by Denmark. And this was the last nation I wanted to share with you. Thanks to Hearts of Iron 4, now it is possible to carry the Vikings to the peak of their powers. If you enjoyed my video, please consider subscribing to my channel and liking the videos. Also, I'd like to hear your own experiences with the Nordic nations, thus do not hesitate to share them in comments down below. For now, goodbye.